All right. Gervonta Tank Davis and his manager or his trainer, Calvin Ford, tell Shakur Stevenson what not to do to blow a fight with Tank like Devin Haney did. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about some very solid advice that was given from Gervonta Tank Davis's team to Shakur Stevenson about how not to blow a potential fight with Gervonta Davis, like certain other person did who is now a champion at 140 pounds and about to fight Ryan Garcia. Before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you've been around for a while, thank you so much for continuing to support. Please hit the like button. And thank you to everybody that supports in the super thanks of this video. It's a great way to sponsor the video so that we can continue to do this work. But let's get into this. Calvin Ford gave an interview to Mill City Boxing. If you don't know Mill City Boxing, go check out Mill City Boxing. Absolutely great channel, does terrific interviews that a lot of people steal. He interviewed Calvin Ford. Calvin Ford is the trainer of Gervonta Davis. And in this interview, Calvin Ford talked about a fight between Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson and what he needed to do in order to make sure he got the fight. Now, what's significant about this is that this is slightly different than what Calvin Ford had said before when he said, man, I don't know about Shakur Stevenson because Shakur Stevenson looked bad and did not engage in this fight with Edwin de los Santos. But now he's saying, look, man, that fight is going to happen. And that fight will happen, but you just got to make sure not to do something. And he says, basically, be careful what you're saying because we know the numbers. We know what the dollars and cents of everything is. We know what the money you're making is. The people that we work with that are actually sitting at the table know what it is. And you're not basically saying you're not going to talk your way into the fight. You're not going to antagonize your way into the fight. That's not going to work. You're not going to bait us and get us to do something stupid like give you a ton of money in a fight where you're not bringing anything in. But he said, look, we consider Shakur Stevenson like a little nephew, like a friend. But he's got to be careful because if he gets on the wrong side of Gervonta, the Gervonta mindset will switch to you're on the other side. If you're on the other side, you're going to stay on the other side. So go away. And because Shakur Stevenson is not a big name or like Gervonta Davis is, or somebody that you can say really stacks a bunch of numbers up, then why in the world would he, if he sees you on the other side and thinks you're not with him or not on somebody that he wants to deal with, why is he going to fight you? So just don't antagonize him. Don't put him in a situation where he feels vindictive with you and says, you know what? I'm going to get you in the best way I can get you, which is not to let you eat. And that is a reasonable reaction that human beings will have, despite how many people who already don't like Gervonta Davis ring bells and get mad and fake anger, all of that stuff that people do to talk bad about Gervonta Davis. My theory on this is, or my opinion on this is that Calvin Ford has a very good point because that's how human beings work. First of all, when you have a fight with somebody, you're entering into a business relationship with them. I shout out to Kyle Porter, who kept asking me this question on my live stream the other day and said, hey, man, in the Ryan Garcia fight and the Gervonta Davis fight, how much do you credit Gervonta and how much do you credit Ryan. Now, I'm sure you guys have, if you've been around YouTube boxing, you've heard this question and this conversation going on, right? And the hypothetical, I'm not my answer, but say someone would say, well, I think that Gervonta Davis is, he usually gets 200,000 to 300,000 pay-per-views, and this is 1.2. So I'm going to credit 900,000 to Ryan. Or, hey, man, I think that maybe 200,000 is Ryan and the other million are Gervonta. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. How do you divide credit between the two of them? With money. That's how you divide the credit between the two of them. Ryan gets 30 million. Assume he gets 30 million. Assume Gervonta got 40 million. That's how they divided it. But as far as the pay-per-views and who gets credit, they both do. Gervonta Davis did 1.2 million pay-per-views and Ryan did 1.2 million pay-per-views. The problem with Ryan is that he didn't win. So now his stock drops and he is not going to be in another fight that does that more than likely next, unless his stock was already so high that it didn't matter if he lost, like Canelo Alvarez against Dimitri Bivol. So I say that to tell you this, that it's a partnership. Both fighters get credit for what is sold, the pay-per-view, because there's always two people in a fight. So if you think of the boxing match as a partnership, in which you're going to compete, the boxing match is the competition, but the business is a partnership. If you are being a bad partner and trying to tear somebody's reputation down and constantly annoying them and constantly talking bad about them, why would they want to, at the higher level, partner with you in a competition? They wouldn't. They wouldn't want to do it. They would turn around and say, man, you know what? It's fun and games up to a certain point. But it's not fun and games anymore. You're past, take Devin Haney, for example. You're passing around mugshots of me. You're calling me a monkey. You leave the weight class and you don't have any intention on fighting me because you're not available, but yet you keep acting and calling me. No. Even if you did want one, man, no. Good luck. Keep lying about your numbers. Keep talking about you're making $15 million a fight when we know you're not. Keep talking about what your pay-per-views being 300,000 when they're not. Keep talking about you're making as much money as me when I know you're not. And just keep having that fantasy out there in the media, because I'm not going to fight you for it to actually come true for you. So Shakir's telling you, Shakur, don't do that. Just, if you talk, do your fight, stay in position. Eventually the fight's going to happen, because eventually the fight is going to be set up to happen because you're a world-class fighter, a great fighter, and one of the best fighters in boxing. And I think that is probably a smart thing to do. Similar to the way that if Canelo Alvarez winds up like Canelo fought Jermell. Jermell Charlo didn't run around talking bad about Canelo all the time. He didn't run into that same situation that Demetrius Andrade did. Most of the people that fought Canelo Alvarez never did that to Canelo Alvarez, because Canelo knows full well I'm the money. You're not. So maybe you should hold off on all that talking. Matter of fact, Gennady Golovkin was doing, after the second fight, Gennady Golovkin was doing all that. And it took years for Canelo to give him a third fight. Years. Killed the value of the fight too. So it killed the pocketbook of Gennady Golovkin because it happened too late, and it extended it for a very long time. So maybe you should slow down on all that stuff. And, if you guys really want to fight each other, but you really like each other, do what Devin and Ryan are doing now, which is fake this dislike for each other so that you can try to sell the fight. You fake a shove, all that fake stuff that's going on there with Devin and Ryan, who probably don't dislike each other at all and are both on center stage trying to perform an act to get people interested in the fight, which should work to a certain extent, but it's not going to work like it works if it's legitimate and it's with Gervonta. And even Gervonta and Ryan like each other. You could tell how when that fight ended that those guys kind of liked each other and were going back and kind of joning with each other. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.